650 million years ago, ice entombs the planet. For 15 million years, the Earth is a vast frozen snowball. But it can't last forever. Something must release the Earth from this frozen prison. And when it does, who knows whether life has survived beneath the ice? The surface is frozen, but the core is still hotter than the sun's surface.